Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another edition of Hilaal Live. My name is Luqman Shadrack from the Cape Town studios. I trust you all had a wonderful Wednesday, and thanks for tuning in to us on channel 347 on DSTV. Always a great pleasure being in your homes, in your businesses, and wherever else you're tuning in from. Remember, you could always log on to www.hilal.tv to always view us as well. As we do on a Wednesday, we've invited a young lady back into the studio. It's the Soul series that we're continuing with. And we're going to open the WhatsApp line very shortly. If you'd like to send us a WhatsApp regarding this program, you're more than welcome to do so. And to try and keep your questions quite short so that Fadwa could answer those questions. And a bit later, I've got Yusuf Khan Dalwai in, and we're talking about the new Traffic Offences Act. I'm sure you'll be paying close attention to that. But let's welcome our first guest, Fadwa Booley. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Jazakallah so much. I know you've been traveling. I know you've been busy. Did you have a good week?
I did. Shukran.
Alhamdulillah. The weather is very different
Yes.
from province to province. We were in Durban the weekend, glorious sunshine, come back to the cold.
Absolutely.
And it's really dropped as well. You were in Johannesburg recently. How was the weather up there?
Freezing.
Okay. Did you get much snow?
No, when I got there, the snow was melted, but the cold was behind.
So your warmth melted all the snow in Johannesburg when you got there?
And then I was quite grateful to the Cape Town load shedding.
Okay.
Because we had load shedding one day from 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 till 6 o'clock.
Ouch.
So no heating, nothing, and I was freezing.
Ouch.
Freezing.
Well, we move ahead and we try and put these things behind us.
Absolutely.
We remain positive. Now, the Soul series that we're continuing in, this week's topic is about goal setting.
Yes.
So maybe unpack for us in terms of why do we actually need to have goals, to chat to us a little bit about that, Fadwa.
Something I've discovered, like the common thread in my therapy room, I'm going to refer to my therapy room quite a lot, is when people are depressed and feeling down in the dumps, I usually ask them, do they have goals? Compared to the person who does have goals. Those who do have goals, they've got something to look forward to, wake up in the morning and they're motivated, naturally motivated.
Right.
If you don't have any goals, you go to day by day, it's almost like Groundhog Day, right? So it's like the same thing over and over, get the school kids done for school, get to work, come home, same thing. But if you are working towards something, right, and especially if you're training your muscle to get to a point of delayed gratification instead of immediate gratification, then the goals become more rewarding. And that is what I train my clients to do, is work for delayed gratification. Because once you achieve it, it's not going to be a short-lived, it's going to be, you're going to bask in it for much, much longer than immediate gratification.
Yeah. And you've put in the work
Yes.
in order for those goals, for you to achieve those goals. So I would imagine quite rewarding.
Absolutely. So today on the radio, I used an example. He congratulated me for being on TV, and I asked the listeners to tune in tonight to Hilaal, right? And then what they said was, what motivated me to do this, like to be on TV? And I referred back to when I was on Hajj in 2013, which was 10 years ago. And I was so elated after the whole completion of the Hajj. I was on a high for 4 days, and I'm talking about euphoric high. And I could relate to every single drug addict on earth, or every single addict, because I felt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence, and I realized what we're all searching for and looking for. Right? And that is the constant or the feel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we come down from knowing self, knowing unconditional love. We come down on earth through a human, and we have to navigate on earth. And then I said, when I was basically finished with the Hajj, I said to my husband, I told him, I want to be the next Oprah in the Islamic world, right? And I could only refer to Oprah because she was so well known at the time. And I said, I want to teach so many people. I want so many people to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want so many people to feel the Hajj. I need them to know this. And this I said 10 years ago. And then when he mentioned it today, that memory popped up. And it became a goal of mine. But not writing. I actually said I wanted to be interviewed by Oprah at the time when I wrote it in my goals. So you see, I work with the bucket list, I work with goal settings because it motivates me, it inspires me.
Nice.
And then I realized 10 years later, So it's something that I also thought of, especially the delayed gratification, because as human, our human nature, we are impatient. Talk to me, I am impatient. I'm very
You're
impatient.
preaching to the choir here.
You know what I mean? So we make a goal. Let's say we set a goal and then we wait and we wait. It's like planting a seed, and every time we dig up the seed to see how far the seed has grown.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it just hit me today, like 10 years later, but look how quickly the time went. So in that time, Allah subhanahu was prepping me on my journey. I had to learn more. I had to interact with more people. I had to go through my own traumas or my own life experiences to be able to sit here today to teach so many others of a goal that I set on Hajj. And it was just so
Alhamdulillah.
profound to watch it.
Alhamdulillah.
You know?
I'm just checking under my chair just in case you do the Oprah thing, giving me a car. So not yet.
Not yet, not yet.
Inshallah. We're going to open the WhatsApp line very soon. You're welcome to communicate with Fadwa during that time on the WhatsApp line. Try and keep it concise, to the point. And if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to do that on the WhatsApp line, 079 085 2511. It's only text message, no phone calls, no WhatsApp calls. Unfortunately, only text message, 079 085 2511. Fadwa, coming back to the topic of goals, all right? Why, or let's put it this way, what do I gain by, setting a certain goal or goals? I mean, what is that light bulb moment that I would have or I'm looking for once we set those goals?
It's the growth that comes with it, Okay. So the question I normally ask the client or the patient sitting in the room is, I give them a list of questions. What is your goal? What will you gain by achieving the goal? Because you're going to gain something. So what is it? So if it's your Mercedes car that you want to get, your G-Wagon, right? How will you feel in it? What will you gain? How will your kids be when they're in the car, when you're taking them to the beach, you're taking them for a drive? What will the drive be like if you have to go work away and you're hitting the long road? The comfort. So I put you in that state of mind, right?
Right.
Let all your 5 senses work. So you have to feel it, you have to see it, you have to be able to taste it. What you're going to eat in the car, are you going to allow your kids to eat in the car? As long as it's not pies.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those are difficult to clean up.
Yes. How's it going to smell? What's the leather going to smell like? That new car smell? Well, that makes me nauseous, the new car smell. What's it going to sound like? What are you going to be playing in the car? Music? Are you going to be playing nasheeds? Are you going to be playing dhikr? What are you going to be playing in the car? What's it going to sound like when the windows are open and you hear the trees rustling? Or just I put you in that state, right?
Right.
And then I ask the question as well, what is it going to feel like when every time you click that button? Because when you're setting those goals and you're working toward it, by the time you achieve it, whether it's a new car, whether it's a second-hand car, whether 2 owners had the car before you, it's all the same feeling. It's endorphins, it's dopamine, it's serotonin, it's your feel-good hormone. Now, if you can be grateful in that time, every time you get in the car, you'll never ever get tired of the car. Because now you're going to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed that goal inside you for you to achieve it. He first showed you the end goal, right? He already wrote that for you before you came to earth. So he knew, look, man is going to be driving that car and that's why I'm inspiring to get it. So every time he sees it, his heart is going to go toward it because that's an inspired goal. Who set it? I didn't just tell you go for that car. If I must tell you go for a red
Ferrari,
are you going to go for that car?
I sat in one this weekend.
I saw.
And it was amazing. Speaking about the G-Wagon, they had a little Suzuki that was done up that looked like a G-Wagon. It was so cool. The guys in Durban are just amazing.
Yes, and so it's like that feeling when you're sitting in the car. First of all, the thought process is going to go through the mind, I can't afford this. I'm not good enough. So what happens is in that process, when you go through that emotions, we debunk it. So this is what I do in the workshops as well. The next workshop I'm going to have soon is going to be the empath workshop, which I'm going to do an amazing process with those attending, because we're going to debunk the beliefs and we're going to set up new beliefs, which is going to become a bedtime story, which is going to become an affirmation that you are going to be tailor-making for yourself.
You're writing your own story, basically.
You're writing your own story.
Okay, interesting. So we chatted about, what do I gain? But what happens, and I don't want to bring the negative into the conversation, but it's maybe great to know the adverse of what's the negative, or what doesn't happen if one doesn't set a goal or goals.
So you're going to feel, like I said, down. You're not going to have something to look forward to, right? You're going to go through day-to-day life and just like, this is my life. Some people go into woe is me. poor me attitude, victim. Oh, this is my life, this is my lot, this I must just be grateful for. Let me just go through day by day. But the minute there's a goal online, that's why I'm goal orientated.
Right.
You're looking forward to something and you're working towards something and you're packing away money for something. And like my goals are usually travel goals.
Right.
And then I got a bucket list, and once I achieve it, it's like bucket list ticked.
Gotcha.
And then I've got it. And it's like, it's just an amazing feeling.
Look, that's what we all would like. I mean, that's utopia. Easier said than done in some instances, because there may be factors that you need to just maybe get over, some hurdles that you need to climb over before actually achieving those goals.
Yes.
But it's good to work through those first.
So you see, the hurdles are there for a reason, because that's going to be your expansion, that's your growth. So let's say you've got debt that you want to go through or get through the debt. I'll first say, okay, so you want to achieve that goal, what debt you have, bring me all your debt, make a list. So you make a list, and then I say, when would you like this goal to be achieved, and where do you like this debt to be paid off by?
Right.
And then I will work out a program for them. I say, okay, 10 months, let's divide it. Give me all your expenses. So I make you aware of your spending, first of all, because the common thread, what people tell me is, I don't see money. My money goes through my hands like water.
Right.
Then I say, okay, your homework is you are going to make a list and a note of everything you spend on. Every single thing. You have to keep a notebook in your car or on you, right?
All right. So I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to continue after the break. After the break, you're welcome to WhatsApp us, 079 085 2511. If you've got a comment or if you've got a question for Fadwa, you're welcome to send us a WhatsApp. Unfortunately, no phone calls. Only a WhatsApp message. Please try and type the entire sentence so I can read it out. No mixed language, as they say. So after the break, we continue with Fadwa Booley on Hilaal Live. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Hilaal Live on Channel 347 and DSTV. In studio, I've got Fadwa Booley chatting to us about goal setting and the various projects that you can actually embark on. And what happens when you don't actually set those goals as well. You can also join us on the WhatsApp line if you have any questions or comments, if you'd like to be part of the show, 079 085 2511. Fadwa, Jazakallah so much for coming back into studio. Really appreciate it. And, off air, we were having this conversation about goal setting and things like that. And one of the things that people tend to often have at the back of their mind is that some people are actually maybe afraid of success and what that success can mean in their lives and the people that are in their lives as well. Have you come across, people talking to you about that?
Yes, I was one of them.
Okay.
I was very afraid of success because I thought that, the saying is the higher you climb, the more lonely it is.
Yeah,
right?
That's also true.
Yes, it's not true because the ones that love you will never leave your side.
Sure.
Right? Secondly is people are more afraid of success than what they are afraid of failure. Yeah, so I had
Very
a 19-year-old male on Sunday, and he came and he said he didn't know what to do after matric, and I did this entire process with him. And then I just asked him, what you're afraid of? And he wasn't afraid of success, he was more afraid of failure. And I told him, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted you those visions, you need to go after it. And I did a process that by the time he left, he was so motivated that he said, so many more teens, he said, needs to come see me, because how he felt after matric, he was totally confused.
And we live in that society that it puts so much pressure on our youngsters to become a doctor, lawyer, teacher, accountant, engineer, all of that type of things. And I'm not disputing that those careers are wonderful. But to the point that we can broaden our horizons, our youngsters, the world's their oyster today, with regards to maybe going into another career where they can be just as happy and just as successful.
So the question I usually ask any person, what did you want to be between the age of 7 and 14 years old?
Fireman.
Right, fireman. So go for it. Because that is where your passion lies. That is where you're in your purest.
In school, we all firemen, policemen,
Yeah. And because when we were playing from the purest of our soul part. There was no ego involved. And we were genuinely happy playing and make-believe.
Yeah.
So you see, in the case of make-believe is that you can't imagine anything if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't given you that to think of.
So true.
Right? So the make-believe and your imagination, we're not able to just imagine something on our own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places that there. So what did you want to be beside the fireman?
a swimmer.
Right.
Well, I did competitive swimming,
Okay.
back in the day. But, back then, we had guidance counselors, remember?
Yes.
And that wasn't a thing, to become a professional sportsman back then. And they would obviously say things to subdue that and thinking it wasn't realistic. You
Yes.
need to go and work, earn money. Back then, being an ambassador, sports ambassador, whatever ambassador, was never, regarded as a lucrative career, unfortunately.
And I remember I used to have a chalkboard. I said, I want to be a teacher. Now I'm teaching, but I'm not in the form of a classroom setting.
Correct.
The classroom setting is a workshop
Different
setting.
facet.
Yes, but I said I want to be a teacher and a fashion designer. So I used to be sewing that. And I'm doing both.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing both. So the thing is, where there's no ego, you're going to find that you are going to excel. But the fear of not achieving, that is where the ego comes in. It's going to tell you, stay safe. You're going to get hurt. You remember the hurdles where you got hurt the last time? You don't want to go down that pain again. So rather just stay safe. But in getting over the hurdles and the pain that you go through, that is your expansion, that's your growth. That is your story. That becomes your testimonial. For somebody else, it's like, you will get through this. That becomes your testimonial.
So what happens? We have these goals. We have them at the back of our mind, short-term, long-term, whatever, but we do nothing. What happens in that process?
So what happens if you do nothing? You're just going to be depressed again.
Okay.
Right? So working towards something, whether or not you achieve it, you're still going to expand. So even if you look back and say, I never achieved that goal, I'm going to ask you the question, how did you grow in that time? What did you learn? So...
Yeah, so we're encouraging our viewers to join us in the conversation, 079-085-2511. We're going to open the WhatsApp line during my next segment as well with Yusuf. You're welcome to always interact with us. We'd like to know where you are with regards to our topics and some of the interesting maybe experiences that you've had that you would like to share with us as well. Fadwa, goals are really, really something personal, something tangible as well. It can be in many cases. It may take 1 year, it may be 1 month, it may take 10 years, but if we work towards it, we can achieve it. What are the consequences? I mean, we've set these goals, we work towards it, we put this plan in place. What are the consequences once I succeed?
Happiness.
First, definitely.
Yes, consequences, happiness, growth. You could have lost people along the way. Not a lot of people like seeing your success.
Oh, for sure.
So actually, the ones that are the fake, I say the fake ones will fall off by the wayside, right? The ones who's going to encourage you, those are the ones you keep close, right? Your success is going to reveal who's true in your life. Whether it's family members, whether it's friends, whether it's acquaintances, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reveal to you who is your ones you can trust through your successes. Those who celebrate with you, those are the ones you keep close.
Right.
Those who got that sneer remarks and those who put you off by the questions they ask you and tell you how you can achieve something and tell you to play it safe. You just need to continuously trust yourself and trust Allah in the process and say, Allah, guide me to who is genuine, who I need to keep close to me. And that I usually do in istikhara and in tahajjud.
Right.
So the goal settings, once you have got the goals, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which one? There's a process. One of these guys, I think it was either Brian Tracy or it was Bob Proctor. I can't remember which one now. They made the person write down 300 goals.
Sure.
Now, I was sitting in the Haram in January and I bought a book and I sat down and I said, now I'm going to do my goal setting sitting in the Haram right in front of the Kaaba.
Sure.
It was such a lovely experience. I only got to 60 and I blanked.
Right.
I couldn't think of any more. He says you must push through that blank, you must write down everything. So far, alhamdulillah, I'm back since January. 5 of those goals of the 60 I've already achieved.
Alhamdulillah.
So you see why it's important to write down, because what's not on paper is vapor. You need to write it down. So the thing is, I was watching this on Facebook this morning. I just came across this and I think I needed to see it and I think I want to share it with the viewers as well. There was this guy speaking and he was speaking about Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, right? And then he spoke about goals and I said, so appropriate. And then he said that, God gives, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the end goal vision. He says, this is what you're going to achieve.
Right.
But he doesn't give you the process how you're going to get there in between. And he made this example. So he said, he gives you the end goal. He said, this is what you're going to achieve. Maybe it's the house, maybe it's the car, maybe it's the lifestyle you want to live, maybe it's the traveling so many times to Makkah where you all want to achieve in the world and travel. and it's not going to give you the process, because he said, imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Nabi Yusuf in the dream that he said, you're going to be king and you're going to be feeding your brothers. And the advice that his father gave him was, don't share your dream with anybody.
Right.
And this is also another thing. Don't share your dream with everybody, because what do? We share our dreams. It becomes watered down. You tell your friend, oh, and drive your black car. And then what happens? They tell you, no, why you want to buy that car? Buy something else. Why you want to drive that one? They tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't. And that automatically puts you off. So that is very profound, where his father guided him to say, don't speak about your dreams. Don't tell your brothers about your dreams.
Right.
So imagine, he says that, imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam to say, in order to become king, you're first going to be thrown in a well, and then you're going to be locked up in prison. Is he going to be one to become king then?
Definitely not.
Exactly. So along the way, Allah shows you end goal. He shows you, this is what I'm going to give you. And now you need to trust the process. Now you need to ask me and say, I need your help to get there, because you've already given me the vision. I've got a big vision. Unfortunately, the closest people in my life don't think I can achieve it, but I know Allah will not forsake me. And I know Allah doesn't have my back. So what do you do in that case? Because now I've seen it so many times. I've seen it since a small child. I've seen it over and over, and this vision doesn't go away. So do I just give up this dream and vision?
Definitely not.
Definitely not, you understand? So this is the test that we're going to have to go along the way, because in order for me to achieve that, not only am I going to expand, but I'm going to be able to help so many of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah's ummah, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ummah, to teach them the magnificence of Allah's creation, the healing aspects, the prospects. So that's just the dilemmas most people go through. So coming back to your question, what do you lose? What happens? You're going to lose time with your children, maybe, because you're busy achieving. You're going to lose friends. Sometimes you're going to lose family members. But if your vision is Allah consciousness, is it a loss or is it a gain?
I want to run through quickly. We spoke about this topic as well, and one of the things you mentioned is that there's a protocol, and there's one effective protocol that you would like to share with our viewers. What's that?
So is it a motivated goal or is it an inspired goal? And how do you know the difference? Right. So let's say I see you driving a new car, and all of a sudden my jealousy kicks in, and shaitan whispers in my ear and say, you can't let him drive that car. He can't be better than you. Now you want to buy the same car. So is it an inspired goal? Or is it shaitan inspired maybe, right?
Yeah.
But is it an inspired goal or is it a motivated goal? What do you think?
Tough. I would say a more motivated goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with motivated goals, you're going to always need the time and energy and look for it. And then you're going to have to keep up to achieve that, right? And when you got it, you're not going to have that same amount of happiness. It's going to be, okay, I achieved it and I've proved a point. But if it's inspired, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed it within your heart, if He placed it within your mind and He showed you and it's inspired, you will get the time, the money, and the energy and the people that's going to help you achieve that goal. Because that's all going to come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a different energy altogether.
Inshallah. Fadwa, where can our viewers find you if they'd like to get hold of you? What are the best methods?
So on Facebook, it's Fadwa Booley. On Instagram, it's fadwa.mobiletherapies. And on Facebook as well, it's Mobile Therapies.
Great. Jazakallah so much. We look forward to our next week's edition of the Soul series. Have a wonderful evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
And that's Fadwa Booley joining us on a Wednesday. She's back next Wednesday, inshallah. Do join us. The WhatsApp line will be open. Coming up after the break, Yusuf Khan Dalwai chats about a new law that's been passed that's going to affect how we drive and how we use our roads. You're listening and watching Hilaal Live.